Cutting Edge, IRFM, we're there with you. Yes. Yeah, we're there with you. You think so? We're there, man. Trust me, we're there. Okay, so, start out the program a little different tonight, but I know nothing. I have to change the mood sometime. We have an interview here at 11 p.m. A proposal regarding the development of St. Thomas. Maka Abeng, we're going to do the interview with. Okay, so, make way, see where I'm going, so. Okay. All right, so make we go on again. Alright, sir. Make we go on again. Here we go. Papa Levi out of England, man. Big hit for him. I don't know if you have no more in Jamaica, though. Okay, so 1 hour gone out of the program of music. Yeah. We have an interview, as we say, with a brethren here, Maka Beng. So we're going to go line up the interview and see where we're going. So, yes. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge and IRFM. On the line, we have a Beng.
Yes, Brother Mota.
How are you, man?
Give thanks, man. Everything good.
Yeah, so like you're going to take over St. Thomas, you know. My laughter at it. It needs some taking over, you know. It needs some taking over.
Going forward.
Eh?
Going forward, you know.
Yeah, them three St. Thomas are weird still.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, what is this proposal you have now, you know?
Yeah, auspicious blessing, you know. We give thanks for the opportunity for expressing our cries from Port Morant and for IRFM hearing, you know. Yeah, for years the residents of Port Morant and St. Thomas have we feel neglected and sidelined. For starters, here in Port Morant, we have 2 to 3 foot of water in the main square when it rains. Yes, there is a wide river that needs channeling and stonework. 1/3 of it is channeled, yes, but the other 2/3 needs basketry on either banks and so forth to create a containment. What is functioning now is land erosion and flooding, that there is a real problem because impossible in the square. Motor vehicles, a lot of vehicles stall, computers are ruined, crocodiles come out into the square.
We're crocodile?
Yeah, man. 6 months ago, right? Note this, that at Dr. Ferguson's office, it's smack in the center of the town. The residents caught a 16-foot crocodile outside his office.
What?
Yes. So, to assist in the effort, we, the community, have gathered over 50 truckloads of stone and some basketry. And we're in possession of a backhoe. But what we need is technical assistance, really, and more basketry, of course, to help in the process, so the training can begin. It's about 400 yards of training that is needed. Yeah? So for 3 years, we have pleaded to the NAA, to Mr. Varden Downer and Mr. Andrew Sturridge, which is in office now, and the field operative, Mr. Edgar Llewellyn. Again, we visited Mr. Sturridge in Kingston, wherein he steadfastly expressed a willingness and took letters to Mr. Warmington. We also took letters to, personally, to him and the Prime Minister. And to date, Dr. Ferguson, our MP, is seemingly on board and not genuinely concerned. And the mitigation of the condition, the lessening of the severity, yet it's only lip service and a big talk, and to me, it's an F for failure. In finality, we are appealing to the government and the part.
Who is a parliamentarian for the year?
Dr. Fenton Ferguson.
No?
Yes.
So when you go to him, what him say?
I mean, he's been here for 5 terms.
No,
and
when you go to him, when you go to him?
When it rains.
When you not go to him, what him say?
It's always a nicety of, yes, I will try to help with the process and so forth. But that's all there is. It's out front, it's nice, but the relative condition on the ground, it's tumultuous, man. It's difficult. People can't pass, children are walking out in the street, and there's alligators, crocodiles. Yeah?
So where them crocodiles come from?
Yeah.
Where them crocodiles come from?
In the river. It flows out into the sea, into a river estuary.
Okay.
Right. You know.
So wait, this the condition where the crocodile are going how long now?
Well, St. Thomas in this area have a lot of crocodiles. Bowden, Holland Bay, all of that. They will catch crocodiles anywhere, and they will take them and distribute them through. There's a lot of wetlands and fish safe havens. So there's a lot of that there, open areas, to the sea. And wetlands.
So where am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because that sound away.
Well, again,
the rainy season to start again, May, June, July.
Well, we're asking Dr. Fenton Ferguson he's the member of parliament, to really put the foot down so that this thing can really get over. And it's more than 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, I've just really come on board 3 years ago in taking this in hand and asking for things to go on, Yeah, and I mean, not just that, the road works. That night when the brother was arrested, I was one of the persons, Melanin, I was one of the persons that was in Kingston when you came there,
Yeah, you mean at the jailhouse, Scanton Spring?
No, I was outside when you came. I'm the one who called up and so forth so that you could come.
Okay.
Yes, so being a concerned citizen is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, with it out there, that them keep a portrait thing that idea with it out there.
Yes, definitely. So, but going forward, yes, my brother, go ahead, please.
What is the I was going to say, what is the forward move now? What happened now?
The forward move is to ask the relevant authority, Mr. Warmington, the Prime Minister, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, to really come aboard. This is his territory, his turf.
Who for territory?
Dr. Fenton Ferguson.
So when Mr. Warmington have to do it?
But his office is right in the smack in the middle of everything.
I feel office the crocodile approach?
Precisely, right out of the drain, right before his office.
So what him say? Him not know about that?
Him know about it, but it's just swept under the rug. And I'm trying to bring this to the fore.
Can't put the alligator under the rug, though. Well, I don't know what to say. Lobbying is always the process still, but you don't have to keep going there.
We have 50 loads of stone to help in the process, and a backhoe to do some of the drainage work and to set up the area for that.
So we'll stop that from going. Where I stop that from going?
I'm not sure. We have appealed to the NAA. We have asked Dr. Fenton Ferguson to help in the process. And to date, nothing. It's just like I said. It's been, to me,
roadblock.
It's sideline.
Well, I know how St. Thomas people usually do it from them time. Then at the 18th century, maybe that should have worked out. Maybe it needs some more move.
So we're gonna see our children being eaten by crocodiles?
No, we're not going to see that. But me say, St. Thomas is a place where lead the way with certain levels, So me say, you're not going to see no children eat, but if you make the right move, it will wake them up, All you have to do is make the right move.
Okay, well, instruct me, my brother.
Well, me just tell you a while ago, it come like a slow man.
No, yeah, you said it's the right move. So
me say in the 18s, where St. Thomas people them did do, they make a move.
Okay.
Even the youth that are there, Melanin make a move in another way, and them way there. So The move is very important. We may tell you about a Paul book, we may tell you about,
Yes, understood.
Yeah, so you plead to the politician now here, where you have to make another move.
Okay,
all right?
I got you.
Yeah. A long time I don't see you though.
I'm sorry?
I said a long time I don't see you. You hide with the alligator them, man, the crocodile them.
Yes.
You afraid of the crocodile them?
Well, you can't get but so close,
Yeah. All right, brethren, I hope you can make another move still. You know them you there?
All right, I appreciate it.
You just say how much years now you talk to Fenton and him not answer you. Then if you just make another move.
Okay.
All right?
All right, I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man, give thanks. That's it. Yes, as usual, St. Thomas neglected. I yes, them going to build a highway through it. Through St. Thomas. You see how long it going to take now. If you connect in a Portland there. I don't understand how them people decide road fixing. Like sometimes you drive on the road smooth and all of a sudden you just boom. It's like you drive on the highway there, so what them call it? PJ Pass the highway there now. You drive on the highway. And when you pay your last toll, it's a weird thing. When you pay the last toll now, because 2 toll you have to pay now. When you touch on the highway from Mandela Highway there, so and then you go on now. Westmoreland and Mandeville. You pay your first toll and you drive, everything nice. You pay your second toll, everything nice. As you come off of the highway, it's a pure rough road. Pure bump and all, and that's how that possible. How that possible. The same thing we see with round Portland there. You drive on this smooth road. And as you done Port Antonio, so boom, a pure bump again. How them decide that? How them decide say, well, I go smooth this up, left this out. Smooth this up, left this out. And go right round through Manchester, go right round. It's the worst place in Jamaica. And not the worst place in Jamaica. And the worst place in the world. The worst place in the world, man. I tell you, I'm going to make a mistake, so I go, where the place there again? My favorite little hut. Great House. I'm going to make a mistake, so I go a Great Hut. I'm going to drive Harbour View, go round. I say, it's my worst experience in life. I hear them talk about Africa, this Africa, that. I don't know no road in Africa where stay so. No road, and it's a main road at that. Because it's a road where I connect St. Thomas with Portland. I don't know nowhere in Africa where me drive where you talk about main road and it stays so. But yet really out Africa, this Africa, that. This is the Cutting Edge and RFM. We want to tune into the poet, Pat Clark, Poetry Festival, this poem. Yes, Pat, you're going. You really are going. Just
welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm your host, Pat Clark. Do you know that there are sea cows living in the murky waters of some of Jamaica's rivers? Well, sea cows or manatees, though few in number, still live in major estuaries along the south coast. These are large herb-eating mammals with fins and a flat rounded tail. They're gentle animals and have been hunted over the years for meat. Now sea cows are among the most rare mammals in the Caribbean. In fact, Jamaica's manatee population can be counted on the fingers. Like the original inhabitants of the island, these mammals are at the brink of extinction. The first written records of the manatee appear in the diaries of Christopher Columbus in 1493, when the admiral reported seeing 3 mermaids, the same things we in Jamaica call river mama. Columbus noted that the mermaids were not as pretty as they are usually painted, but they had the form of a human face. What Columbus is believed to have seen are manatees. Manatees and elephants are both descendants of the same large land mammals. The only sound they make is a faint squeak. Gray to brown in color, manatees spend the most of their time feeding. They can grow to 4.5 meters in length and weigh up to 100 kilograms. The female sea cow is usually much larger and heavier than the male. Although the sea cows have a clumsy appearance, they are quite fast, agile, and playful in the water. Although sea cows are primarily vegetarians, on one occasion there were reports that they actually ate fish. In 1977, fishermen in the Rio Bueno area of Trelawney found their nets contained intact skeletons of fish. This was attributed to the activities of a herd of manatees which had been observed near the nets. It appears that the manatees ate the flesh from the captured fish, leaving only bones behind. Manatees reach reproductive age after 9 to 10 years. The new calf is born after 13 months and the mother breastfeeds her calf. The name manatee is derived from the Caribbean Indian word manatee, which means breast. Manatee have no known enemies apart from human beings. Manatees in Jamaica are protected by the Wildlife Protection Act of 1945. The act outlaws the hunting and possession of protected animals. However, many people did not know of the law until 1980 when the NRCA launched a public education campaign in order to save the manatee, which were still being hunted. Today, the thrust is still on to save the manatee. As obscure as these mammals are, they are a very important part of our heritage and should be preserved at all cost. And now, to end Jamaican roots and culture, here is our Jamaican proverb for the day. Jankro fly too high, feather drop. When a jankro flies too high, the feather falls out. This means you should be yourself and do not try to be who you're not. Know your limits. When jankro fly too high, feather drop. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
Yes, Pat Clark, talking about, our serious thing, you know much animal in a water. There's more species of animal in the water than with the land to rot it. Believe you me, the more that species of animal. But them relate all of the animal them to the animal with the land. You know, I mean, how the earth set up is unbelievable, man. Okay, so we're going to do this, we're going to play this. We have to play this.
A Chinese national was captured on video insulting Kenyans and the president is being deported. Liu Jiaqi was referred to Kenyans as, quote, poor black smelly monkeys, end of quote, is being deported this evening. His flight is set to leave the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at 10:45 p.m. The Ministry of Immigration says he was deported on racism grounds hours after his permit for selling motorcycles was cancelled. The Chinese embassy in Nairobi says that the remarks were personal and do not in any way represent the views of the vast majority of Chinese people.
Yeah, it's like you are punishing me.
It is a clip that has gone viral on social media. Chinese national identified as Liu Jiaqi hurling insults at Kenyans. In the video captured by an employee at his motorcycle shop in Ruiru, he refers to Kenyans, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, as monkeys.
This is all the Kenyans, like a monkey. Even Uhuru Kenyatta, all of them.
It's like a monkey.
Yeah, sure.
The president of this country.
Yeah, sure.
Liu, who was nicknamed Judge by his employees, brags that there is nothing poor, black, smelly Kenyans can do to him if he fires the employee.
Yeah.
You don't care.
I don't belong to here. I don't like here. Like a monkey people. I don't like. Dog is dead. Smell is bad. And poor. And foolish. And black. Who like them? Why not the right people, like the American?
Then why are you coming to do business in Kenya if we are poor, we are black? for money.
The government was quick to act. Liu was arrested and his work permit cancelled. Through its Twitter handle, the Immigration Department said Liu Jiaqi, a Chinese national who was arrested due to his racism remarks, has been deported. But the move, it appears, was not good enough if comments on Twitter are anything to go by. In response to the message by the Immigration Department, many are of the view that he should have been arraigned in court. Kimani says he was within our jurisdiction and the crime was committed in Kenya, so why didn't you charge him? Kadungu Kisumba asks, why deport while they jail our people in China? To Eric Barasa, this could be how the Chinese see us. Liu has been working in the country for the past 8 months with 7 other Chinese nationals who were given a permit to sell motorcycles for Sonling Company that has employed 12 Kenyans. Another fact that has angered Kenyans on Twitter is just how he was given a permit to sell motorbikes, something that can be done by Kenyans. In a statement, the Chinese embassy in Nairobi, through its spokesperson, said the personal talk and the personal feeling of this young man does not represent the views of the vast majority of Chinese people. It is not the first time the Chinese have been linked to racism remarks and actions. In July, the Standard exposed the mistreatment and discrimination of Kenyans working for the Standard Gauge Railway, who are not even allowed to share tables with their Chinese counterparts in the restaurant. Kenya.
The Zambian government, Bishop, sold the copper mines in northern Zambia to an outside consortium for $25 million. The copper mines for $25 million because they couldn't manage to keep them. The company that came in and took over the Zambian copper mines in 3 months made a profit of $75 million. They did not pay the Zambian government up front in cash for the mines. They were going to pay them over a period of time. Here we have this company that has an understanding of how things work, raised the money at the government's expense, took money that the company the government should have been making, and gave it back to the government and said, we paid our debt in full, and give them now 0.006% of the proceeds of copper mining. When right outside the door there's people in poverty, people not eating, people ignorant, people dying, high levels of AIDS, and what's the deal? Churches are full, people are praising God, Africans pray all night. Prayer is not in the success equation. Prayer is in the revelation equation. Decision making is in the success equation. You have to make a decision and be sound. We have to be disciplined and make sure we go and get what God has called us to get. You can be full of the Holy Ghost, but you can still be ignorant. But as for me and my house, I will get understanding. I will get understanding. I will get understanding. It's time now for us to rise up and be counted. This year, the country of Ghana turns 50. Ghana was born the same year we were born, in 1957. Ghana and South Korea had their independence dates on the same day, the same year. But look where South Korea is. South Korea is by nature not a Christian nation. South Korea by nature are Buddhists. China, which is the next large world economy, they have stated that in the next 10 years, 20% of the Chinese people will be multimillionaires. That means almost 450 million Chinese will be millionaires. They are not Christians, they are Buddhists. The Japanese are Shintoists. Those in Indonesia and Malaysia are Muslims. It's not about praising God and hallelujah and a great thank you, Jesus. It's about possessing an understanding as to how things work.
Oh, my Africa is in trouble. Here is what will destroy Africa. It is happening now. If we do not react today, we are finished as a species. There's a global agenda against Africans, and there's a great selling out that is taking place. The most important alert involves a use on Black Africa. Is China colonizing Africa? Yes, it is using soft policy for now. Africa has become a resource of oil, minerals, and metals for China. While this China is doing things that Africans can do, like building our own roads, building our own hospitals, and building our own schools. But we want trade. Immigration and security. There are now over 5 million Chinese who have come into Africa. Many of them could be criminal. We see here in South Africa, they have already started to have their own police station. This has never happened anywhere on earth, where people that invest send the police and build their own police station with their different communication systems. We see here Major General Peko Parasi. He's talking to Tu Peiwa, Secretary General of the South African Chinese Community and Police Cooperation Center on Local Security. Why can we not supply our own security? Just imagine if any country or all countries could do this. How many police systems could we have in many places? The Chinese are coming into Africa. In 2010, these are the numbers of Chinese in Africa. These are the numbers of Chinese in Africa. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. They come as workers for oil, for minerals, and many other objectives. What can we do? Paekache's principle proves that China wants Africa for itself. Eventually, it will wipe out all indigenous people, black people. Here is the proof. They have a record of doing that, revealing Asia's biggest secret agenda. This is Paekache's principle, the military alert, news alert. We were first in Asia. We are no longer there today. After that, there is coming military conquest of Africa by China. The current situation, misappropriation of arable land and mineral resources, fisheries and oil, massive uncontrolled and illegal immigration, violation of African state sovereignty, increasing military presence, and many others which we have already elaborated. As the leading creditor of the majority of African countries, China is in a strong position, and this raises many concerns. Seizing Africa and its resources, a 2,000-year-old plan. Even the Africa report says the emperor's appetite for African resources, strategic locations, new markets, and reliable allies. China wants it all. You can study this and read this a lot on isu.com shown here. Seizing Africa and its resources is a 2,000-year-old Chinese plan. Knowledge and technology no longer belong to anyone. China and the industrialized nations have one goal: the grabbing of Africa and its innumerable lands and resources. In fact, this ambition has been that of China for more than 2,000 years. The Chinese massacred hundreds of millions of black people who peopled Asia to seize their lands and wealth. It is this conceived, organized, centralized, and implemented China's policy of genocide that is at the core of the research program that produced the Paekache's principle, the greatest secret of Asia. The Chinese are a people of consumers who build little but destroy everything and kill en masse. These are the constant factors of this nation for thousands of years. Their water and air are polluted to the extreme. Their population is poor and too numerous. China is already using all means, including trickery and weapons, to seize the resources needed by the Chinese. Africa is the only place where to find in abundance and without adequate military protection these resources, land and strategic resources. It is this conceived, organized, centralized, and implemented China's policy of genocide which we must be aware of. Let us look at the Zambian example for starters. To temporarily stop this dangerous policy of China, we must attack it on its criminal record, its criminal past, its genocidal past. It would also help to build consensus and unity in Africa. You can see here the Zambian President Edgar Lungu is pleading. He has been defeated. He shows weakness. He shows failure to lead. Zambia is reportedly in talks, or was in talks with China, over a possible takeover of the country's electricity company ZESCO after defaulting on payments. That's the trick. They give you the bonds, they give you the loan, they give you the money, which they know you are corrupt and you won't be able to pay back. This is according to a report by Africa Confidential titled Bills, Bonds, and Even Bigger Debts, claiming that Zambia risks losing its sovereignty to China, which is bound to seize its national assets once the government defaults on loans. This is a process. This is a process that is being implemented across Africa by China. China is there to recolonize Africa, and African leadership is fast asleep, thinking that money from China is easy, go easy tech. They don't know what's befalling them. But Package Principle is alerting us to this and letting us know and learn this criminality. China needs resources. Therefore, this is what China's land grab for Africa is. That's how they are doing it. Sudan, they've sent the military there in guise of peacekeeping, and then Sudan supplies China with oil and arms. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, China fuels illegal ivory trade, destruction of natural resources, cutting of trees, and besmirching of our soils, earth, and rivers. In Zimbabwe and many other countries, China seeks platinum, gold, nickel, and diamonds, and recolonizing and taking over the land. In Uganda, they've taken over the land. They will soon seize everything. In Nigeria, there are 50,000 Chinese that have settled there, intermarrying and mixing up our people. In Sierra Leone, China is building stadiums and doing all it can. In Angola, China is the biggest consumer of Angolan oil. In Namibia, China has built the presidential palace. For African Union, they've built the African Union headquarters in Ethiopia. So China is there for the grab. What do we know? And this is a fact. A provable fact is that Asian Chinese committed a lot of genocide on black people of Asia. This is it, global agenda against black Asians. The Package Principle and its scientific data make it possible to demonstrate the centralized policy of genocide perpetrated by China against blacks throughout Asia. For example, the genocide of the kingdom of Gudara, ancestors of the Japanese, is the sole motive for this endless war that still pits China against Japan today. The numerous genocide is the key explanation of the crisis on the Korean Peninsula. The Package Principle established a link between this criminal past in China, in Asia, by China's genocide projects in Africa today. Impose the genocide of black people be on the agenda of the Korean Peninsula crisis settlement between China, Japan, and the two Koreas. Only scientific evidence of China's crimes against black people in Asia and their publicity is our weapon now, is the weapon that our government can have to use. Will allow us to temporarily stop the Chinese conquest of Africa and reassess certain contracts that have already been agreed. You must grab this book. You must have this book. You must study this book and give this book, Package Principle, the greatest secret of Asia. You must give it to all the members of parliament in Africa. Brother Bayem Biik crafted this after thorough research of over 20 years. You can get this book from Lulu Publishers. And this is a scientific reference. We were the first in China, and we are no longer there. You can also watch Committee Hebrew Ethics, a video on the genocide of black people in Asia by the Chinese and by the mulatto Asia. So, what can you do? And me, what can we do about this? Yes, we are in this together as black people across the earth, whether you're in America, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in New Zealand, whether you are anywhere on earth. We are in this together. We are in this together. We are in this war together, because the death and the demise of the motherland of Africa is your death and demise too. Spread this message. This is what you can do. This vital message, spread it in all your social networks. This is Africa News Alert. Let others know that China is recolonizing Africa and will take over the whole continent if we do not stop it today, now. Spread this message.
Over the next 5 years, China is seeking to import US $10 trillion in goods and services from markets across the world, including Jamaica. An announcement that perhaps diffuses the concerns regarding Jamaica's perceived one-way relationship with the superpower nation. CVM Live's Joel Crosskill has the story.
A review of the affiliation between the two nations was conducted at a welcome dinner for Chinese Ambassador Tian Qi, who heard of the genesis of Czech's relationship with Jamaica.
You will forgive us if the Jamaica Labour Party government claims patrimony. to having invited Czech to Jamaica when we were in office between 2007 and 2011. The first project, the Jamaica Development Infrastructure Project, which we negotiated. And then, of course, the North-South Highway itself was initially negotiated by our government with China Harbour.
Minister Shaw also spoke of Jamaica's connection with another major Chinese investor.
When it comes to GISCO, we welcome GISCO into Jamaica. And the level of development that is proposed, it is unprecedented in our history. $6 billion United States dollars is scheduled to be spent by GISCO. The first $1 billion has already been expended. So it's not a pie in the sky, it's not a dream. It is a reality that has already commenced.
In an announcement that drew gasps from the audience, a representative of China Harbour spoke of the company's future ambitions in Jamaica.
There's no difference of Jamaica or Chinese. It's a local company. So for the future of China Harbour here, we want to be a local company here.
The Czech representative followed up that announcement with an even more startling revelation.
We have a big, ambitious dream to build a new city in Kamanas area. I believe, as a very rough estimations, for this new city's investment value should be more than $2 billion US dollars.
Joel Crosskill, CVM Live.
Although the news that's been coming out is so depressing, and I know I got so many emails about what's happening with Zambia, and a lot of people wanted me to comment on is Zambia now, Zam China. Actually, you guys, it's not even a funny story. Zambia is the first African nation to become a full Chinese colony, and we joke about some of these things, but what has happened is really, really tragic. And I warned you guys this is what was going to happen. But also this shows you that we're closer and closer to a major global war. Because I told you, the Europeans are not going to just sit back and let China take over Africa. Now, what has happened is that Zambia defaulted on a couple of loans. And so they lost their power company, Zesco, and that has been taken over by the Chinese. Their major national electricity company is now being run by China. Now, if that isn't even worse, they've also lost, a few months ago, they lost their Zambia Broadcasting Corporation. It's called the ZenNBC. I think it's the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation, which is now fully owned by China. And, the government has been denying that this is the case. They've been trying to play cute. They've been trying to play, like everything is okay. But they have actually been in secret talks over how their national electricity company would be taken over. This is crazy. Do you think an African country would be allowed to run China's national electricity company? And, it just shows you that China's neocolonial strategy is reaching ahead. I mean, it's reaching its climax. They've been doing this covert business for so long. And now, they've got their tentacles so deep inside. They've got their tentacles so deep inside that it's going to be hard for some countries to turn back. Now, what's happened is, their whole strategy is they encourage indebtedness. So, hey, they come with the money. They come with the money. They give you. Then they... once you default, they start to take over strategic assets because of failure of repayment. And you see, what China has done is they have studied countries that are corrupt. They have studied countries that, that are greedy, that have greedy leaders, which is most African nations. And that's why we find most African nations are in this situation. And then they kind of have this, their long-term outcome is the effective ownership of commanding heights of the economy. Remember, I did that thing on the Seven Mountains Prophecy, health, economy, etc., media, entertainment. So they come in, they give you a deal you can't refuse. They pour that money on you. And then all of a sudden they come collecting, and they're very vicious when they start collecting. And you know what? Even the Chinese government, they know they actually have a problem in Zambia and other nations. But you know what they said? They were just like us. We're protecting the Chinese. If your people cannot negotiate for you, if Zambians cannot look, if the Zambian government and the Zambian politicians cannot look after the entrance of Zambia, that's not our fault. But this is not going to be possible. And you know what? I was doing deeper research into this matter, and it gets even worse. Now, you know, Zambia's president was actually in China last week for the China-Africa summit, and I'll talk in the future about the $61 billion or $60 billion that the Chinese government allegedly gave to Africa with no strings. There ain't no free lunch. Come on, guys. There ain't no free lunch. And one of the biggest problems with all these deals that China has signed with African governments is we don't know what they've done. We don't know what they've signed away. We don't know the kind of agreements they've made, because all of them were done hush-hush and behind the scenes. So all we're being told in Africa and in China is, oh, China's giving Africa money. Oh, you're getting money. Oh, they're funding this. Oh, they're funding that. Oh, they're funding infrastructure projects. But we're not told, okay, the debt repayment is this percentage, and if you fail to pay this percentage, you know, you're going to be in trouble. We're not told that. We're not told what concessions have been made. In fact, I know this is not about Kenya. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit obsessive about Kenya, but I've been told Kenya, they built this crappy railway line, and if we don't pay, they're going to get one of our ports in Mombasa. Anyway, that's just a story for another day. Now, this guy, so President Edgar Lungu, he visited Chinese companies while he was in China. Not only have you lost Zesco, the electricity company, you've lost your media company. He actually had the nerve. Some of these guys, man, he actually had the nerve to go visiting Chinese companies, and he received a grant of a further $30 million for the Lusaka East Multi-Facility Economic Zone Electrification Project, whatever that means. So these guys can give you like high blood pressure, man. It's crazy. And so President Edgar Lungu, he came to power basically Zambia signed an $8 billion, when he came to power, Zambia signed an $8 billion Chinese loans in financing. Now, over $5 billion of this hasn't been added to the total. Now, that's what Zambia is claiming. They're claiming they haven't received $5 billion, or they haven't been able to account for $5 billion of the $8 billion. Although China says it was dispersed, it was released. And get this, the finance ministry doesn't even have the manpower to police and monitor and disburse the funds. And the financial penalties, because I told you, a lot of these deals are done in secret. We don't know. So the financial penalties of actually backing out of a Chinese deal are worse than the savings than just going through with the project till its completion. So a lot of contracts have been signed in secret. It's a problem. We don't know what our governments have done. And that's why I am telling you, in the next few years, because, you know, the next election for Zambia is, I think, 2020, somewhere there, you're going to see a lot of African governments toppling. A lot of African governments toppling because they have sold our souls to the devil, literally. Just check out how, you know, Zambia, by the way, Zambia has been allowing Chinese immigrants to come in since 1964. And now, after all this happened, the Chinese have even taken a road. One of the main roads that's even on the national map of Zambia. They just took a road that appears on the map. You can Google freaking Zambia right now and you'll see that road, and the Chinese have just blocked it off. Like they own the country. This is total madness. Seriously, what are our politicians doing? Yo, young Africans, we need to get it together. Like seriously, we need to get it together. We need to arise. We need to get out of our stupor, our slumber, our coma, whatever it is. We need to stop feeling sorry for us, for ourselves, and just arise, man. And fight for what is ours. I mean, this is what our grandparents fought for independence for. Many died and were tortured. And you know what? So not only have a lot of contracts been signed in secret, but we don't know what our governments have signed off. And in Zambia, Zambia has one of the longest relationships with China. among African countries. It started in 1964. 5 months after independence is when this relationship started. And China has been given uncontrolled access to Zambian resources by overborrowing and allowing Chinese unfiltered emigration. And it's reached such a high tension level. And I'd love it if my Zambian brothers and sisters who watch my show would just even expound, share your story, share your testimony, guys. It's reached such an uncontrollable level that now the Chinese have even moved into, the African neighborhoods, and they're creating tension. They're even selling maize on the streets. So here in Africa, we have guys so when you're stuck in traffic and stuff in the major cities, guys will be selling everything from aprons to knickers, undies, to handkerchiefs, to water, to crisps. Now, I can imagine seeing Chinese people doing that business. Imagine seeing Chinese on the side of the road, roasting maize, and it's becoming a problem. And in fact, I was reading there's been such a high influx of Chinese to Zambia since 2015 that many believe, many have started thinking this was Chinese government driven. Of course, they're happy for their people to be, to emigrate and take over and colonize. They're happy for that. And then when these guys commit crimes, because a lot of them have committed crimes, and there's this brilliant article from Lusaka Times which talked about the various crimes that have been committed. The Chinese, a lot of corrupt Chinese have moved to Zambia. A lot of thugs and criminals who are into corrupt deals. So corruption has reached epic proportions in Zambia. And when the government tries to call out the Chinese, what happens? The Chinese government says, "Oh, don't touch my people, don't touch my people." It's crazy. It's madness. It's nuts. And it's become such a problem because contractors are moving, traders, wholesalers, farmers, manufacturers, importers, exporters, and criminals who want to seize the vast resources of Zambia and are looking for an escape route from poverty because China just came out of being a third world country. And it's even become common now for people to say China first, Zambia last. Imagine. So, a lot of Zambians have been complaining because Chinese have been allowed to acquire large tracts of land. So there's little land left for Zambians. You guys, you're thinking it's a joke when I say Zambia is now a Chinese colony. There's been a lot of loss of employment opportunities because they're bringing everyone, cooks, bakers, electricians who learn online, engineers who learn online. They've brought a lot of lawlessness and corruption. They're crowding out Zambian SMEs because they're even doing the small business of even selling maize on the streets. And they're racist. And a lot of Zambians have complained about the racism and the environmental degradation. They're even in Zambian markets. Where the Zambians now you go, you sell your vegetables and your fruits. They're even there selling fruits and vegetables and competing with Zambians. It's shame on the Zambian government. Shame, shame, shame on President Edgar Lungu or whatever his name is. Shame on him. And the sad thing is, because of all the loans that have signed and because of the defaulting, future Chinese generations will be entitled to Zambia's precious resources. So the children that have not even been born will be born into a neo-colonial China. Might as well call, Zambia a colony of China. It's a mess. And something needs to happen. Imagine something needs to happen. Guys, we need to awaken. We need to get out of our stupor, get out of our problems. Zambia, you guys need a revolution. You guys need a revolution, man. You guys need something. You guys need to awaken, aren't you? Are you just going to stand by and let this happen? Anyway, guys, it's my first show back and I'm already so emotional. I need to talk what is happening just for China.
Yes.
And why.
The time is 2 minutes past 12 o'clock in Jamaica. Yes, say, couple of years from now, these tape, these recordings that we're playing will be ringing in your ears. Yeah, it might not look anywhere now, but couple of years from now, trust me, these recordings go and give you some serious reflections. You're going to say in your mind, but look how long did I hear them something upon cutting edge. Because this is not no prophetic thing. This is logical connections. This is sci-fi note 1 and 1 equal 2. This is not no prophetic thing. Just like how when we didn't know when rain a fall, or when rain a go fall, we never have to wait upon the meteorological service to tell we. But through logics and through experience and through observation, we realize the rain going to fall. Through logics, through experience, and through observation, we know the rain is going to fall. Through logics, through experience, and through observation, we figure out certain things where Europeans couldn't figure out, because them did have to go in a scientific mood to figure it out. But our way of finding it out was scientific. Very scientific. It never have nothing to do with what the prophet said or what the prophets never say. The prophets is only people who could observe. And if you observe properly, you will be able to tell what is going to happen. So, mark my word. Mark my word. These things will come to pass. Considering the trajectory that Jamaica is on right now, it will come to pass. All the things that you hear going on in Zimbabwe, in Sri Lanka, and all these places who take this money to build infrastructures and things and say, look there, the place get modern. Modern at what cost? That is the argument. And they will have you to believe that we is a troublemaker, that we don't want to see progress. But who could have don't want to see progress? You must be a madman if you want to sit down in your house in the dark again and go get kerosene lamp. We don't want that again. We want light, electric light, where you click switch and light come on. We know about that and we understand that. But we don't want it come at a price where our children can grow up to be sensible, rational, behaving, thinking children. This is the cutting edge. And IRFM. Man, tell the truth, no man. Which other program for any radio station you got hear play Jamaican soul music, followed by Jamaican dancehall music, followed by China involvement in Africa and Jamaica, followed by where we are here now, Afrobeat. What a diversity. Yeah, so when I tell you, ask you which other program on radio you hear such a eclectic music performances plus in between information. That's how we do it. That's how we ever do it. That's how we will ever do it. So we'll continue the journey. Listen. Yes. Busy signal, I try a thing as well with burning through a tune. Busy signal. Why you call some name, let me tell you. Yes, Ian.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Well, Memphis,
been listening to you over the past 2 years, and you really inspire me and joke the poet in me, so I start to write. Alright?
Nah, you know, Brethren.
Yeah, man, I say, are you still start listening for you over the past 2 years?
Yeah.
And thing, and you really inspire me and joke the poet.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a poem I would like to
read.
Or anything.
Go on, read it, man.
Alright. I am the child that you took from Africa, bring you to Jamaica to make you cane and sugar. I am the child that was separated from my mother. She cried and begged, but no mercy you didn't show her. I am the child that you are denied. Because I'm black, you said I have no human rights. I am the child with tears in my eyes, walking the street of shame with one thing on my mind: reparation and repatriation for all Pan-African. I am the child that you are refused to feed because I am the child that you are refused of me working 16 hours per day in your cane field. I am the child that was in the Congo, minding Colton for you to make phones and computer for your children. I am the child that you want miseducate and I am the child that you are miseducated and indoctrinate. Gave me jacket and tie to be your boasted slave, so I could perpetuate the same system that was used to suppress and oppress my ancestor for over 400 years. I am the child that burned Master House and its plantation. I am the child that started the Marant Day Rebellion. I am the child that suffered your inhumane torture and sufferation. I am the child that survived. I am the child that was lynched, murdered, and crucified. You asked if slavery affected me. I said, yes, I am my ancestor, and my ancestor is me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You listen, man. Now you love how you listen.
Yeah, I say over the past 2 years and things.
Where do you want to call from?
Oh, you're not going to call from Trinidad, Jamaica.
Trinidad?
Yeah.
Wow. Give thanks. Give thanks.
And I kind of get an African name, my father gave me.
What the name is?
Kiba.
Kiba?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what it means?
No, we're not going to really...
You know, should ask him, man. You should ask him the meaning of the name, because African do it, you know.
I mean, from my start, listen to and go somebody teach me, I see how people start to look at you different and things. So
Yeah, true, man.
Really give thanks and things. So, blessed, right?
Yeah, man, give thanks, Virgin, yeah? Yes, yeah. Yeah?
Motor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, you know, some of these things people are playing, them things that make me angry, the motor.
Make you angry?
Yeah, man, the thing that make me angry, man. And when me hear what go on, I decide to, I put the anger one side and try to think up a solution. And motor one solution I see out of this thing.
Wow.
A political solution, motor, we can't keep going back and forth between these two little leader party where sell out the country left and right, motor. We need some conscious ones out there to form a third party where the interest of Jamaican people in mind, motor.
Yeah.
We need someone like you and Cabo and some of these other conscious people who know.
All right, hold on.
The country in mind, motor.
Yeah, I can tell you something now. You see, me personally, I'm not a politician.
Me know that you
me no say a man can't go become politician and I'm defend him still, but I say me personally, me not a politician. Me don't know the first honor, the first clue for go be politician.
But Mota, you have more of a clue than who are doing it right now.
But we are trying to say me is not a politician, but me will support one. If a virgin come or a sister come, who me feel say deserve my support, me will support them, but me is not a politician. It's like me not a doctor.
That's the problem we have in a motor.
Yeah, I know. You see me, me not a doctor.
Yeah.
Me not a lawyer. You understand? So you see me not a politician.
Yeah,
but me will support.
Let me say, maybe left out your type motor, but we need someone.
No, me not say you don't need them, you know. Matter about me not say you don't need them.
Tell us a motor, we need some people who have the interest of the country in mind. All these people say them are politicians now, the interest of the country in mind in a motor.
Yeah, but me can't go be like them. Me can't go be like them. Because I'm going to watch out.
Waste time.
It's like how me I'm a politician and you go tell me so we got run politics and I'm going to go start turn like them.
No, you're not going to turn like them.
You don't know that. Them wonder who did that say them going to help the country. Though them going there and help the country.
The mind you have in you can't allow you to be like them motor.
Well, brethren.
Me and tell you that.
Yeah, but me I'm a politician. Trust me.
No, but we need some ones out there.
Yeah, we need them, of course. Of course, we need them. We need them. We definitely need them.
The problem with the people in my face is them have two choice, and the two choice, the same foolishness.
Yeah, two-headed dragon.
You don't allow them money I got the same thing we say. We have to sit down back a few years and now and say, boy, look how much I want about this thing. And nobody now stand up to change the thing, and this thing I go through politics, so somebody, whether you or whether whoever, but some conscious people.
When the student ready, the teacher will appear, man.
People in mind have to take over this thing.
When the student ready, the teacher will appear.
Alright,
Motor. That makes sense to you.
Yeah, well, this is one I student, them already motor, because nobody must come with a conscious thing, you know.
Yeah.
Me will go 100% to support them and champion for them and work for them as long as me say.
Yeah.
Them have the interest of the people in my motor. Because we can't make the country just go to waste. So.
Yeah, man, that's true, man. Give thanks. Yeah, brethren?
Alright, enough love, more.
Yes, a serious thing. This is the cutting edge. Yes, EL.
EL motor.
Yeah, blessed.
Yes, everything is everything, you know.
Well, long time you know you're from your man. But you say Ghana, China.
But we go China. Is because we deport the Chinese, them were in Jamaica and in Africa who are trying to colonize Jamaica.
You hear the clips them? You hear the clips them when I play?
Yes, and I agree totally. And before me forget, because I'm coming further upon it, I just want to say happy birthday to my sister May from St. John's Road, Spanish Town, whose birthday it was yesterday, Wednesday the 1st of May. And everyone whose birthday is in May. And the Marcus Garvey Center, daycare center in Nottingham, in England. The council are trying to shut it down because the Marcus Garvey daycare center cater for our elders. And they wanted to shut it down. So there was a march last Saturday, which was very well attended in Nottingham, where the people demand that the center remains open because it has been there providing for our senior citizens, elders, for more than 30 years to deal with our people. Yes, and them try to shut it down, so we come out and demonstrate. And
so what now?
The Chinese business there. It's
no, it's not shut down again. It's going to shut down still. And
you have to keep playing things like that. Because you see this Chinese colonization.
No, Mandingo.
Yeah.
May I ask you, with the demonstration we're going, what is the outcome of that demonstration as related to the shutting down or keeping it open?
Yeah, the outcome so far is that the council have had to stay their hand at the decision they had made to close it down.
Okay, so it's still quite close on then.
Yeah, but we're fighting for it not to be. But the intention to do it has been stopped because of the popular support shown by the demonstration.
But I want to say
online and then the demonstration Saturday gone that show that we're not going to allow that to happen.
But why is it
it's all about direct action. And when we're talking about direct action, it's the same thing we have to take with Chinese colonization. It can only be stopped by the direct action of the African people in Jamaica, Zambia, and other African countries. That's the only way. But
the leader them so licky.
The people.
The leader them licky so much that, you know, it's a joke business because even don't get so too. You know, your Shah say, 1 billion don't spend out of the money, how much money them will give them. And them will build city, We have a cost 2 billion over Caymanas. And them have foot in a Bernard Lodge there.
But remember, it's not the first time you talk about, you and other people talk about that so-called proposed city that them want to build in a Caymanas nearby ferry there, in St. Catherine, And remember, we have said, we want no Chinese city in Caymanas, St. Catherine, or any part of Jamaica, because as our teacher Marcus Garvey Jr. said, coming in the 70s, we as Africans must be aware that we do not want the Chinese or the Indians or any non-African group to export them excess population to Jamaica and Africa and the rest of the islands of the Caribbean, because this is what is happening, China and India overpopulated, so they want to export
over a billion
them surplus population. And that would lead to the genocide of our people. So this is a serious thing, and we cannot allow. We must not allow PNP and GLP, or opposite sides of the same kind, to sell out not only our interests, but the interests of our children, grandchildren, and others to come. And it's only we, as African people, we have to take direct action and do make no more Chinese becoming in to control. Take all the roads thing I'm talk about. I mean, you mentioned it so well. Them have built pretty roads and all that type of thing. Build pretty roads at the expense of enslaving us. That's what Pastor just rightly said. Building pretty buildings, and the price for that is to enslave our people and to get rid of our people. None of that. In the 1970s, me and other African Jamaicans as civil engineers, we build the Maypen bypass road and other things in Jamaica. We have the intelligence and the ability and so on. We as African people are not stupid. We have the engineers, the scientists to do our own thing. Marcus, we have the self-reliance. And it is our duty in this time, Muta. It can be no other time. It is our duty as African people to prevent the Chinese coming to our countries, to populate our countries. Because what will happen, coming in bit by bit, to outnumber us and to come. And we become a minority in our countries. If you all in a Fiji and them place, the English will do that, Whereby in Fiji and some other places, then bring in the Indians. Until the Indians are now the majority of the population.
You know what, no bigger example than America, man.
Exactly.
America, the biggest example of how them come in, white people come in and just take over the whole place and now call other people alien.
Exactly. And same thing they do in Australia and New Zealand.
Big example that.
And we in Jamaica. And this is why when me and you and other people talk about we are African people, so it is very important, not just black people, because you have one people who say them black, but them. So African identity, as Marcus Garvey said, is totally important, because if you don't know that you're an African, you will be used and abused by non-Africans. Serious things. I was watching an interview Sunday gone, the 28th of April. And then I interviewed the boy, the Bill Gates. And the interviewer was asking him, why is it that your focus is about so-called health care? And it's an European interview, And he asked Bill Gates, why is it that your focus is about so-called health care in Africa, especially? Both you're sponsoring vaccines, the malaria, TB, you know the usual thing that you kill off our people and things. But the guy said, why you don't spend that money on so-called education? Bill Gates said, no, it's health thing, it's because he wants to deal with population control, to reduce the population of the African race, because all of them, Chinese and Europeans and others, they want to take over Africa, because Africa is the richest continent on the planet, as you know. and they want to get rid of our people by all manner of means to take over, to control, and own our continent and its resources. That means we must be out of the picture. We must be exterminated. It's a serious thing. And Freedom Foundation spend about 10 to 12 billion dollars every year. Billion, you know, not million. Bill Gates. And it's him wife Melinda, and our next European Warren Buffett. You are 3 Europeans in charge. Luther, you have to keep on playing these kind of things that you're playing, because and messages have to be played so that people can take warning. And you see the bridging who phone and talked to you earlier about politics and so on, and you said, yes, you're not a politician, but you support a politician, any politician who dealing with positive things to African people. Yes, because as an Africanist, we need people in the political field to represent us politically. And of course, we have to deal with things economically too, because politics have to go with economic empowerment of our people. Self-reliance, Marcus Garvey, everywhere. That's why it's still all now. They still do have the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey book. In the school system in Jamaica, do a lip service.
Man.
So man, and I will keep it further with the knocking on Marcus Garvey daycare center. You know what I mean?
How is England?
Well, England is the usual racism and thing. Yeah, that case just a couple of days ago, whereby a father was arrested in South London, in South Norwood. Guess why? The police say that he was given a child. It's something, I'm going to send it to you on WhatsApp. He was given a child. Drug. And guess what was the so-called drug?
Right.
The man was giving his daughter 50 pence, 50p. I'm going to send you the WhatsApp. And it's a good thing, phone cameras with phone. Because, you know, first time, these things are new, you know. But you see, with the technology, with phones and things, a lot of things that wicked people used to do and get away with. And there's no proof. These phone cameras, such a lot of evildoers at work. And then send it to you right after me and you done talk here. And you send it round to people. And these are the things that we have to do, because everywhere we are and any part of the world, we are under attack.
Yes. Yeah, man. All right, Bridget, you have to move.
Hello? All right, bless it.
Yeah, man, I know you're Friday, but don't keep it so long.
No, all right, true. All right. I true most of the time, you may not take calls still, but we're not still so long.
All right. Yes. Yeah, Mandingo, this is the cutting edge. So here we are going to do this for now. We are going to play this song, as we say. We are going to play this song here. One of the songs that I think say are the sweetest Ibermar song. So here we go again. That tune, man. Yes, Million Thoughts. Yes, cutting edge. Yeah. I'm there.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Mr. Muta, I can call you that, right?
Yeah, man, you can say Al Muta too.
Yeah, man. Remember some years ago, I was listening to you on a Thursday evening, and you did talk about the ark and Noah.
Noah and
you
the ark,
mentioned, yes. Noah's ark.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about how the giraffe neck must creak because at the height of the ark. You know, so that's something that sit down with me. I know, remember, me still laughing. Yeah, man. And me look on it and say things will stick with people throughout life. And the person maybe say I do something and know say
it have an effect.
Right. But, well, I'm a Christian really, all my life.
Yeah.
That is what I grew up in, and so still in the church. And The other day, I say to somebody, every now and again, we bring it up to somebody, and
them laugh too.
Yes, man, laugh. Because I say the giraffe, but I say for the entire time, them in the ark, why the giraffe would have stand up? The giraffe no can like bend down and kneel all them something there.
Of course.
Yeah, man, so you neck no must creak. And with this 3-story ark and so.
Yeah, take it away, but gets all right. Consider this.
Mm-hmm.
A one window, one door, it have, you know.
Yeah.
And it locked for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah, but a 3-story, man. But anyway.
Yeah, no. But remember, them have to pack some on one place and some on the other place, you know.
Oh.
Now, when I say no, them in for 40 days and 40 nights, all them peer of every animal, well, not even peers, like eat a one, eat a clean, or eat a unclean.
Oh.
When them have them tile it and all them something, or them clean out them something there, and the food where them have feed them and all the animals them where is carnivorous where them eat, like the lion them.
All the information that them man, some preparation was made. But you know, so on another note still, that's not really that I call about. You teach me some other something too. Because one time I listen to you and you make me know, say, in Angola, I think, can you say visit there? And you there talk about the murder rate. Like 1 or something.
Zambia.
Yes. No, Angola, Zambia. I know what I think. Yeah. I'm tell you something there, and I share the information with people, and I go research it, and I say, why is it?
So you find out that you may attack?
Yeah, I say, why is it? It's a predominantly black country. So the idea say, black people, because you're black, you go aggressive. And because your country, because them have more people than we.
No, them have less people.
Have less.
It's a smaller country.
A smaller. But the population, when we do the research, it never did that far.
No, they're far from our own, but you know, just the idea that it's two people.
So it lead me to do a research, if we find out what the cause of crime and all them situation then in Jamaica, because when we do in all the world, the 10 most peaceful and the 10 most worrisome and the 10 most happy and so I look at all of the chart them and me I say it's not the presence of religion, it's not the presence of such and such. So me I look at it, you know, and me I say I wonder what really are the cause. But one question would I want to ask.
No, so we hold on, you go too far. When you come to the conclusion, say, is what could have caused it?
I got to know.
Okay.
So, number one, governance. I have a contribution towards that, like politics and them something there. Two, the mind of the individual. Because there is nothing will happen when somebody it start with.
Yeah.
So you see when people link together in our groups and confederacy and all them something there, and somebody will have some negative thinking that breed that spirit then somebody to catch on, you know, and I say you see mob farm and all type of unruly sitting all people would have behave normal and good when they by themselves or with, you know, the birds of a feather flock together or something. When you have good people where you think positive things and you're around them.
The environment that shape your thinking.
Yes. So at them something them look upon and I am still me in the mid-30s, right? But me observe and from the first day me go to basic school. Me I use my brain for them time there, and when them have their school, I sing jackass with them long tail bag of cocoa coming down, and we are farm the line and have me hand a flash like tail. The first thing me start say, but me and a jackass, so why them have me I do this? So me I use my mind from them time there. And when we reach primary school, we are sing the song about no man is an island, no man stands alone. I don't know what. Me start to reason it out and me say, when we look on the island, from an aerial view, you only see the island them by themselves, you know, standing alone. But sense would tell me, say, all of them join together underneath the water in one land mass. So even then, no island no really stand alone, you know.
No, well, I don't really island them are deal with, you know, it's a metaphor.
Me know, but me I look on the reason. Say
you just reason it out.
Other.
It's good for things still, it's good for reason.
Me I say we really need each other. So when the person have a selfish way now where they don't go and get for them agenda, they want to do for them way, then take another man view. You know, you're able to reason out what somebody else has say. You know if you accept it, but even listen. Work together. You understand? Me sure say the landmass where the island them protrude from still linked together, you know, so we can't do one man, you can't do things by yourself. We have to work together. But one somebody or two have the negative attitude and can breathe that in the other people. And appear negative results as they come.
You're like a bad apple spoil the whole bunch.
Right.
Basket.
I just something them sit down and look and me say, we have one song, you know, when we little, and one of the earlier caller them say something and me I think about it. Because me hear this gospel song with a cappella sing. From me, you know, my teens I come up and listen to it. So everybody said that anybody could do the important thing somebody should do. And everybody knows that anybody could do all the good things that nobody did. So it's like we sit down and say somebody need to do that and me I wait till somebody do that.
Instead of you do it.
You know?
Instead of you do it.
I mean, you do what you can do, you can't do what you can do, and what somebody else fair do. Do what you can do, and if each person do that, in a positive thinking, doing a positive, making a positive contribution, it now go one little by little, you change the whole world, you can't wait to sit down.
You have to change yourself, and the world will change. You have to change yourself, the world will change when you change yourself.
Exactly, because we are the world. Everything will happen to somebody.
We are the world.
You know, so I them something that me use me not sit down and some people are then talk about them gossip about who for clothes not stay good and who this one who do that and them chat go on this go on and how you can do just make a positive contribution
for yourself,
and start something.
Where you call from?
St. Thomas, where my parent?
My parish lot. My parish lot.
You know, so when me hear the guy from Trinidad, I start reading poem, you know, and I thought about might be a rebellion. Me I say, wait, a Paul Bogle this time, so I him started. You know, and I was thinking, so it really sad because we are the poorest parish now and all of that. But in my mind, poorness is really in the mind still, a mentality of the issue, because even with problems, me I always tell people, say, are you see the problem, you know, so are you, why in your mind the problem exists? Because 5 more somebody can look on the same thing and see no problem. You know, and one of them philosophers, they say you can't solve the problem with the man that created. So we thinking need to change. We just practice fear.
The thinking is where really are the problem.
Yes, man. And if you sit down, you know, and put your mind to positive views, that's a solution for all the way you did say a problem before, you know.
Of course.
I would just work together. I don't know why. And one problem I have, I'm well passionate about this, you know. I'm very persistent. I attack it and I push. I am saying that when you sit down and talk, and you put down the thing on paper, you could have talk, you could have called jury and judge, you could have discourse, theologian, philosopher, everybody a discuss. And when you put it on the paper, I type it out, put it in a nice folder and portfolio. All you have is just sitting on paper same way, you know. And as me say, when eternity I roll, it's still there on the paper, you know. So me say the only way to do something is to do it.
Of course.
Do it. Not that say you know sit down and plan, because the foolish man go build a house and not count the cost first. You know, you plan and you lay a foundation, but you need to implement, and that's a full problem. We talk and we discuss and we cuss who should do that and who never do. We dig up some sitting for 100 years down, and I mean time a pass and we still sit down there talk and you know, all them something them me just can't deal with it, and me feel say persons who know say this they can make a difference in this area or that. Do your little part.
Of course.
What you can do.
Yes.
You know?
Are the first you call the program?
Yes, man, at the first. But me listen now and again. I stay up for call now.
I'm glad say out there on the program I can't think so. I'm glad say that at least somebody's thinking because them listening.
But then again, you know, And I like saying something there. Between me like to the by myself a lot of time. I do a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
And me say, me looking life, you know, because I don't necessarily the Bible me get it from, even though me can't find it tonight. And on a book, because sometimes I tell people about Bible, and then say a man write it. Me say, tell me a book how a man never write. Because the man write, they all the book, them when get where him write say. Why you can't think of something?
All right.
So me looking at life. And two are going around me. And what going around me can show me something. So why me not look at life and study?
That's why I just say observation.
Yeah.
And inspiration.
Right.
And really what we call now experience. And them things that teach you more than any book, you know.
Yeah, man.
Observation, you have to observe. Because we probably don't want to observe, you know. We have to observe things.
Right. And here with me now, as me say, I'm a Christian. I'm still well on to that now. But guess what? I talk to everybody and I'm a friend with everybody, you know. No matter your calling or your choice. Your choice or your belief that not affect me. But what I'm saying, when somebody tell me something, me feel so the sign of mental illness is when your mind leave out of the box and gone all over and you can't bring it back in the box.
Yeah.
And me feel so when you're not able to listen to somebody else's viewpoint and ponder it and reason it out and choose whether you're going to accept or reject it or, you know. But at least some people just shut down people when somebody open them out, they don't want to hear what the other person say. You know?
And look how the giraffe make you laugh now. Look how the giraffe make you laugh now.
I know me laugh. I hear you say it, you know.
Laugh is a good thing, you know. It's better you laugh than cry, man.
Right, yeah. And the things like that I look upon, and I say, you know what I said? We have a community. All of us grow up together in a one community. And then church, school, education, this type of house, and so start to create some divisions. And I see people in the same community, you know.
Yeah.
All of we related, and them look upon the label thing. And we start looking at each other and say, you know, my brother and sister again, you are that and you are that. And we treat you like that and start have up a little black against you because you are not like me.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, me I go don't know still because if me not stop me now.
All right, give thanks, yeah? No, I say give thanks, continue listening.
But wait there, before me go, this poem, because me write story, I hear some little, I read before me even go to basic school, so me just love words. And even though me not do nothing with them, but the guy with it call them kind of make me draft the poem here me have.
Okay.
And here what it say, I am black. I am a black man, woman and child. I said, I am black. You can tell by the color of my skin. I won't change the skin I am in, for I want the whole world to see I am black. The kink in my hair makes me proudly wear and proud to be who I am. I won't color my hair, change it, add to it, or take away from it. Coarse as salt, you may say, but it is I, the black being, who I am. I am black. The spread of my nose, I suppose, fullness of lips, tell you who I am. I won't refine, subject myself to the knife, to change it. I won't. And again, I won't. I won't. I am me. Who am I? I am me, a black man, woman, and child. My forefathers were black, taken from their land by hands so cruel, enslaved, oppressed, forced into another man's world, liberty. I protest your ways. I know who I am. I am not a mental slave. I am free to express me. I am a black man, woman, child. I am a me.
Area lead. Them other liquor station on the roads like some liquor weed. I want to them indeed.
Give thanks, yeah?
Yeah, man. Take care.
All right. Yeah, the sister have a lot of things to express. I will give thanks that we have the forum that you can express it. Yes, you know, I should talk about the joke we make about the giraffe in the ark, same Nick Moss Creek. I remember I go through a airport at Fort Lauderdale and the woman who was search bag them when you push them and well you push them underneath the X-ray and then it come around the other side. And she take up my bag and put it, for go search it. And she look at me, she say, "Are you named Mutabaruka?" I say, "Yeah." I say, "You know, say, you say something for your program, make me laugh." And I say, "What?" She say, she hear me say that if you want to meditate, the best place to go meditate is go sit down by your toilet. The woman laugh out right this up to, you know. I say, "Okay." So you see, me bring joy in your space, man. She say, "Yes, that's true, you talk. Because I go in there, I sit down. And I tell you, say, some things are coming on my mind. It's sweet, me. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. Yes, Cutting Edge. Eel.
Greetings, both. Greetings.
Blessed man. All right.
This is Susumba.
Okay.
I want to greet up the man first and respect for the man Anna the other day. I couldn't get to go there. But with there in a spirit and soul, because I want you to know, say, I never you want that child through the land with a little butter pan.
Okay, you tell me.
I did sit down by the wall, I watch you, I watch me. I tell you too.
Okay.
Yeah, man, so Muta. I have two things more address. One main one is the ganja license. I want to know, you know, we put it out, they say, the license, them license thing they are give out. One to the small man license. I mean, every fee say we get no license, we don't see a ganja we sell like peanut and biscuit on the corner like how the man them sell it and hustle. Right there, they are doing own business. We need license for.
Well, it need license for do it in a certain way that you can export it, I guess.
I mean, that is normal if you want to export it. People export coffee, we have license, but don't you? We don't need a license, don't you, if you sell it, don't you? And when I try, don't you, Muta?
Well, I guess you have a point there. If it's decriminalized, you're supposed to cannot sell it, don't you, still?
Yeah, the man on the corner, they might try to take it out, and the man, what they want to turn it in a cigarette now, about license. So,
but you don't have to have license to sell a cigarette.
No, but remember you have to buy it from a man, you know. We have proof to make it, you know.
Yeah, me know, but if you have a man of a cigarette that sell on the corner, you don't have to have no license to sell it.
That's true still. But me I talk as far as the part where the manufacturing process where I go on, you know, like only certain people that prove the same thing. He would have come here weed in a box then and say, all right, see there. You know, you know. But even that, them don't want to do. They want it in a liquor shop where Islam and in a liquor shop, they approve it.
Yeah.
So, you know. That's how they
we have to sort it out, but still, we have to sort it out. The more it spread out there, the more you're going to say where we are talking about happening, you know. The relationship to the small man, you know. And now stay so all the while still. Because right now you have small one, we have planted for big man too.
That is true. That's true. But I said, enough to be aware where people can export it and whatever and then make money and everything. See? But think about the small one. I write them give out some small license then where the average man can't get it. Then you know just come give out to the big man and a small man all the while let her fight and a smoke the weed and I get to make bus up. Peter touch deals and all them things that so you know and then know when the conference them are keep and the decision them are make and the brainstorm them are make on the round table. You know the pub me not see nobody will sit down and represent the public or the small man and say wait. Wagwan. Yeah, so you know I look when you work in Jamaica, I work smoke the weed and I spend the money I buy it. And I make the economy I run. And it's small man.
Yes, some man don't have no money neither.
You see it? A true thing, man. So because I sit down and me I think I say this is not right, man. Because I plant 5 trees too, you know. See? Because I'm not going to make me can plant 5 trees and I plant it. I don't want to tell me and these must can smoke when something when me plant. Until me get that right there.
Yeah, plant it, yes.
Yeah. See? So, yeah, man. want to big up Mama Elise Kelly. She gave me my first interview. I want to big up Nicky Giovanni, who did it with me in the struggle, you know, and me in a prison.
Okay.
And want to big up all of the poets them in Jamaica and the world, and we have pushed the positive thing forward, because you just feel the vibes you go out in the street and, you know, and be around, you just feel a new energy in it. So, one little short poem and one for Marcus real quick.
Two poem that and one that are two that you talk about.
yeah. But you see that when you're man, the reason why you want to do it in a motor.
No, then do it. Don't tell me why you want it. Just do it, man.
All right. So, it's me a man. Man have always been dreaming, creating and reaching, while searching for a meaning of why he's living. Man listens to a lot of teaching. He does a lot of studying. He does a lot of deep thinking. And though he's now learning, he still can't find life's meaning of why he's breathing. Man does a lot of scheming. He does a lot of lying. He does a lot of killing. And he likes to be cheated. But he finds that there is still something missing. With his life, he's gambling. And false hope, man is banking. With his faith, he's investing. Trying to get the value of what he's spending. Only to find out he is still wanted. Man does a lot of drinking. He does a lot of smoking. He does a lot of fiending. Hoping to find a good ending to all his trouble and stressing. But man's heart is not mending. Man knows he's changing. Man's not broke, but he's bending. And though he has learned some lesson for something, he's still searching. Man have always shown his good loving. Man can't be serious while joking. Or at times he can be very charming. But man still have his misgiving. For there's something he's still seeking. Man is open and praying. Man wants to be forgiven, so he's confessing why he looks for some blessings, but there's still something worth finding. Man can never find the right timing. From something he's always running. For something he's always fishing. And for better, he's always wishing. But from him, something is always hiding. Man is fighting and dying. For something he's always defending. You know when he's shining, because you can see that he's smiling, but he still seeks something much more interesting. You might not see a man crying, though inside he's really hurting, knowing that his days are waning and his dreams are fading, while he's still left with nothing, trying to find life's meaning.
Yeah, man, good poem.
Yeah, that one after Marcus now straight, because Marcus inspire me, you know.
Yeah.
I love, I would hear a man I come talk about Marcus, a cheat and a thief and swindler, I have to go in for him.
Yeah. We hear all of them foolishness. Both
so this one I know in the words of Marcus. This is where we have to go back. In the word of Marcus, we must put back our trust. Because look at us. We get too vicious. We are too devious. And we are too jealous. We are too malicious. And we are living erroneous. So in the word of Marcus, we must put back our trust. Because we are too religious. We see life too fictitious. We like to be glamorous. We act too outrageous. And now for the wrong things we lost. So bust off the rust and put back your trust in the word of Marcus. Because we get too poisonous. We get too treacherous. We live in too bogus. We get too envious. And we are too dangerous. So let us adjust and put back our trust in the words of Marcus. Because we get too fastidious, becoming too tedious, thinking we are fabulous while acting ridiculous over matters that are so frivolous. So grab back your focus and grab this impetus to put back your trust in the words of Marcus. We should stop trying to be famous and learn to be more courteous. Stop being too cantankerous and be a little more cautious. We must stop being too anxious because we see the big bonus. We must learn to be more assiduous and generous because sometimes we take life too serious and make the pressure get us delirious. So let us push back our status up and get rid of the fungus and put back our trust, in the words of Marcus. At times, we want to take an hiatus because some of us get too avaricious, thinking everything that looks good is delicious, getting us more gluttonous, pushing all kind of junk dust down our esophagus and forgetting the sweetness of the crust. But let us get more ambitious and courageous. Let us get more conscious because life is not a circus. Let us really put back our trust, in the words of Marcus, because it is glorious, it is tremendous, it is illustrious, and it is wondrous, and it is feels so righteous when we put our trust, in the words of Marcus. They could beg still and bust, but let them keep on cuss and fuss, getting more boisterous, because we already know them two blasphemous. But we want them to know, from dawn till dusk, we put our trust, in the words of Marcus. Listen to this, Muta. Leaders come various, some come spontaneous, some come precarious, some come anonymous, some come as a genius, some come like Confucius, while some come with the stimulus, but Marcus come to us synonymous. A lot of people say that Marcus is mysterious, while some say he's the magnum opus. But whether he's from Venus or Uranus, we know one thing, that's unanimous. Marcus lead the exodus from the heart of Babylon to a conscious radius. So let us get our mind contagious and feel Marcus next to us. So let us sing a melodious chorus for the man that born in August as we chant continuous. In the words of Marcus, I put my trust. In the words of Marcus, I put my trust. In the words of Marcus, I put my trust. Why should it be obvious? Yes, Papa.
Give thanks, Virgin. Give thanks.
Yes.
Alright. Yes, the Virgin with the us, man. Marcus. Conscious. John, this is the culture that John RFM we're coming through the places with the last lap. Yes, Eel.
Hello?
Yeah, blessed.
Hello, Mr. Baruka?
Yes, sir.
Yes, how you doing?
I do quite well.
Yeah. I'm calling again once again, from Florida.
Florida?
Yeah. The guy that get the mark is feet for you.
That get the mark, what?
You know what? I get the mark on my feet for you if I listen to you.
Oh, yeah, listen to me. Yeah. When you're youth,
Yeah, I get a cut to my feet, yeah.
Yeah, give thanks.
Yeah, did you get the, remember you told me to send the song to you, did you receive it?
Which part you send it?
I sent it to irfm.net.
Oh, well, I don't take letter, I never get none from irfm.net yet, you know. I don't even know what that is.
That's the thing the operator gave to me.
Oh, well, but who you send it to? irfm.net, who? To who?
I sent it to Muta.
I forgot to ask Shamara tomorrow if she have it on the email, yeah?
Yes, because I remember asked if you can run the song for me.
If I can do what?
Remember asked if you can play the song for me.
Yeah, but when I said I forgot wait till me get it, so I say tomorrow I'm going to ask them if them have it in the email there.
Okay.
All right?
And if you need any contribution, you can let me know still.
No, I don't need no contribution. You have to carry go church.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, so here we know. You know, so we give thanks to the moment and the time and the energy. We give thanks for me hungry continuously. Yes, brethren, I make strides. I love that. I love the strides them way I make, man. Believe you me, I love that. As a youth out there, yeah, I love the strides way I make. So, you know, so over the far where they are from 2 to 5:45 with the stepping razor, the art of war. Yes, There's so much things are going on, though. A whole heap of things are going on. All this weekend, enough things. Carnival thing. We had this poem. Enough things. We about Kite Festival and all them something where they linger in the year. Well, that's the week before, but yes, enough things. So, the place is well busy and gizzy. Well busy and gizzy, trust me. We say street DJ come in and off him show, you know. I'm street DJ. A street DJ, me a call you, because you all the on the street. And you a take over me, or me a matrix in the day, you know, too.
Yeah, the day, so I take over the night, you understand?
Every night you there?
No, just a city thing.
Who you are sitting for?
Matrix one.
Who Matrix are sitting for?
Matrix City is Renee.
Who Renee are sitting for?
She not sitting for.
She stand out. All right, something wrong with this thing, you know. And I think I'm theater. So as I say, a little more, you know, all right, little more.